This guy, I think I have a couple of his, because he had his own interesting take. Obviously, at this beginning part, he's saying you misunderstand me. He's talking about another comment that he read. I'm well aware that that they are not permanent, nor am I forced to use them, but they're still going to appear in my game. People who play competitively will still be quote-unquote forced to use them. My point is, I'm upset because I'm watching Game Freak messing with Pokemon who are already complete. Like a painter who thinks he needs to go change his piece of art in the museum to get people's attention. Because I love Pokemon, my concerns over Game Freak and Pokemon's direction are valid. And he is correct. His opinions and concerns were valid. The only thing that was kind of rough is the fact that they already had an idea of what Pokemon can be. And that limited them from seeing the potential of what Game Freak can do. That's that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. This is one of the... Okay, come on, game. We're off topic here, but the first Pokemon I encounter on this thing is a gum Onyx. That could have been really nice in my Nuzlocke plate. Nevertheless, yeah, I agree. Like you said, he kind of, his own opinion of what Pokemon should be to him kind of holds him back a bit. However, I can see these are some genuine criticisms. He talked about the point that I made earlier, like, oh, you don't have to use Megas. He's like, yeah, I'm aware, but they're still gonna be there.
They're still going to be competitively viable. Other people are still going to use them. He's not going to be able to just take them out the game, especially when he gets to the point where he has to do the Mega Lucario fight. You know, at that point, they would have to use Megas.
Yes.
And they wouldn't be able to avoid it, you know? But, I mean, again, there's a good spectrum. Obviously, any and all criticisms of Mega Evolution were mostly invalidated by the games themselves. I'm sure a lot of people's opinions change because, you know, people now we have people who are just saying bring back Megas. So obviously people's opinions changed over time. We all loved them at some point during the cycle, and you know, to an extent, we all want to see something that's as good. But the issue, and I think now's a good time to bring this up. I think the issue is Mega Evolution fatigue would be absolutely nuts if they were still doing it today, 3 generations later. We would have, how many did I say? Like
148.
Huh?
We talking about how many Megas we have?
How many Megas we would have?
How many we would have?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have 48 currently.
Right.
So 2 games encompasses 48 Megas. So if they just kept that pattern, or maybe they didn't go to it. Maybe say they went down to like 30. But even though they would have like maybe 20 or 25 in Sun and Moon, and then another 5. So like Gen 7 would have another 30. Gen 8 would have another. So yeah, we'd probably be around 130 something Megas.
And they would have to pick and choose which Pokemon got those Megas. And then you would have the weird overlap between, like, say a Mega Raichu with a Mega Manectric, and we'd have weird overlaps with like Mega Banette and like Mega Mismagius. And all these Pokemon would have to be different, and they'd have to have different abilities, and they'd have to have different gimmicks for their abilities. It would be a disaster. And as much as people say they want Megas back, they really don't know what that means. They're consumers. They don't really know what it would be like as a thought experiment to have all these different Pokemon, have them all be viable, and have all the new ones be good enough to compete with the old one. Especially when you get to like the like Mega Rayquaza, for example. You know, Mega Rayquaza is the strongest Pokemon ever. What would happen if we got to BDSP and we got a Mega Arceus? Would it be stronger? Would it be weaker? Would Mega Rayquaza just be invalidated? Would you end up having Arceus and Rayquaza on your Uber's team and then just picking one to Mega Evolve? You know?
Yeah.
All of these thoughts and ideas have consequences. Even if it's not real, your thoughts and your ideas have consequences. Put them out there as thought experiments. And for me, Z-moves were a great idea. Dynamax was a great idea. Racialization is a great idea because it keeps things from overstaying their welcome. It keeps things fresh, and it lets them continue the momentum that they started with Megas, which brings in an audience gives them something new to try, gives them new metas, new ideas, new concepts. If we were stuck with just megas, I might still be playing competitive Pokemon all the time, but I might also be complaining a lot more about megas. You know, mega fatigue. It'd be a real thing. All right, here's another one. Am I the only one around here who thinks that these mega evolutions are bad? Here's another example of people who genuinely didn't like it. People are asking for it today. A lot of people are. A lot of people miss it. But back then, that was not the consensus. A lot of people didn't like it when it was introduced. Obviously, they could have played the game. Opinions could have. Here you go. He's not the only one. A lot of people did not like Mega Evolutions. When I first saw Mega Evolutions, I thought it was a scary idea as well. Then we have, in case of emergency, copycat Digimon.
They don't stop.
They don't stop, bro.
And
again, half the comment for no reason. I think this one is the worst thing Pokemon has done in a while, unless every Pokemon gets an evolution.
Every Pokemon getting a Mega?
Either every Pokemon getting a Mega or every Pokemon getting evolution. I don't know exactly what they meant by that. But yeah. Very bad take.
We got that for the future with Dynamax, because everyone got Dynamax.
Everyone got that.
But only if you got Gigantamax, so it's
Another person. Kind of disappointing if you ask me. Fair.
same face. You
I
know, just
asked.
a normal face. You know?
Yeah, I asked you. Said you're kind of disappointed. That's fair. Again, not everybody liked Megas when they first came out. Boo! Only during battle equals disappointing.
What did you want them for out of battle for?
Now that's the craziest part. A lot of people wanted Blaziken to evolve into Mega Blaziken and not just be it.
Like that, just like an extra evolution, like
Yep.
at a later level.
That's just it. It just no. I mean, maybe you just use the Mega Stone like a, Moonstone.
Like yeah. Huh.
Now imagine
No.
that. Imagine if they did that. Imagine how terrible that would be. Because then
Everyone.
because then either they'd have to take it out, and then people would be like, "Wow, you gave Absol an evolution, and now he can't have it anymore." You know, there were a lot of single stage Pokemon that got Megas.
Yeah.
Manetric's only a 2-stage. You're telling me Mega Manetric couldn't be in the game?
All
right, so now we're going back to the discussion of the DS versus the 3DS. The 3D feature of the 3DS isn't the only feature that made the 3DS and DS different. There are more features exclusive to the 3DS that makes it obviously different than the DS, such as eShop, Street Pass, MiiWorld/Maker, AR games, and many more. Of course, the functions/ergonomics of the 3DS obviously have improved as well, since it's the successor of the DS. Your complaints about the DS being better is equivalent to saying the first Xbox is better than the 360, which shows you are being biased. Now, to further explain this comment, we're going to get to this guy. He's a legend in the comment section. People cheered when he was gone. All right. But one of his main arguments has to do with the fact that the 3DS was unnecessary. Jumping to the 3DS was unnecessary. Game Freak was doing things wrong again. But yeah, these are interesting discussions that we don't think about nowadays. You know, making the jump from the 3DS to the Switch was a dream come true for most people because Pokemon finally came to console. But the caveat was the Switch isn't a normal console, so it doesn't have normal console specs. It doesn't have normal console interactions. It has a lot of better advantages compared to the 3DS, obviously. But it's crazy to see that was somebody's chief complaint with the games. Not the Megas, not the mechanics. The fact that it was going to 3DS. There were a lot of discussions that we just conveniently forget about because they weren't the main topic back then. You know? Because most of us were okay with it. Most of us were happy. A lot of people that weren't happy had very obvious discussion points to make, but there are some out there that just weren't that obvious. So I'm not going to ask what you think on that because we're not there yet. We will at some point. I'll be like, "Hey, Darian, this is the guy." So
It sounds good.
once we get to the guy, I'll let you know. So here's another one of the comments along the same line. People are still raging about being on the 3DS. Let's dial the clock back 10 years. Ruby and Sapphire came out on the GBA, which was a new format compared to the Game Boy Color. Now, I bet if it was 2003 now, people would be raging saying, "Oh, gee, I can't afford a GBA. Why isn't it on the GBA?" Things change. Get used to it. I think that's a good comment.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Because that's exactly where I was. Both times I was like, dang, now I need a 3DS, and then a few years ago I was like, dang, now I need a Nintendo Switch. And luckily, Daniel helped us out. Max and I were able to have a Switch, and I returned the favor to Max when she gave me the Switch, and I made sure that she and Demond had one. So now they have a Nintendo Switch as well. Can they extend the amount of Pokemon that a player can handle to 8? Even post game will do, because there's now a bunch of Pokemon to choose from, and there are many that I want to. What are your thoughts on that?
That's where your EXP all comes through. I mean, 8 Pokemon. I think honestly 6 is enough. I really do.
Honestly, I'd say dial it back to 5. Nowadays,
6 is definitely fine.
And here's why I'm gonna say that, right? Because a lot of Pokemon teams, it's the same thing with Overwatch, right? You know, like when Overwatch they took out a player and then it changed how your team composition worked. Same thing with Pokemon. I feel like Pokemon team compositions have it takes so long to make a 16 team of 6. It doesn't take as long to make a team of 3, I would say, because you can just make a team of 6 and then split into 2. But the thing about a full team of 6 Pokemon is that every single Pokemon needs a different role, and there's usually a lot of overlap with that. Like, you'll have a physical tank, and then you have a special tank, and you have like maybe 2 special attackers, or 3 physical attackers and 1 special attacker, and it's a whole thing. Or maybe you'll just have 6 tanks.
Yeah.
But I never once thought about 8. Yeah, like didn't get to 8 sounds crazy.
Yeah, I do enough planning now. Like, that's how I usually do. Give me maybe one of each of the attackers, maybe a tank, and then maybe like some mixed attackers, or maybe another, depending on what kind of gyms and battles I'll have to face in the future.
Exactly. And like the bare bones for a game is just having 6 different types of Pokemon, usually ones that you saw and you're like, oh, I gotta play that, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, the comment means well, but at the same time, again, like, people have so many different ideas, so many different concepts as to what Pokemon can be for them and what will make them happy. But imagine if they actually did put 8 slots in. Everybody would hate that. Absolutely. Like, most people would hate having 8 Pokemon to carry around and train up. And again, this is before we knew that there was an EXP also. Imagine training 8 Pokemon by hand. Goodness.
No, thank you.
Alright, we made it to the legendary John Howard.
Let's go.
The guy that derailed all conversation about megas. Alright, so let me see. How many John Howard comments do we have? 1, 2, I have 3 in a row. 4. I have 4. So I'm gonna start with this one. The new Pokemon, they are uncreative, they all look ridiculous. They all sound ridiculous. And when you have that, it ruins everything, since the game is based on Pokemon them. And then this specific comment replied to it. Half of the Gen 6 Pokemon haven't been shown yet.
That's what I'm saying. Someone obviously didn't see Greninja yet.
That's what I'm saying. This is before we even knew what the stars evolved into. He's looking at Pokemon like Bunnelby, Flabebe. What else was in that trailer?
Fletchling. Fletchling, maybe.
Yeah, because I rewatched some of the King Nappy's old videos because I know he was very big back then. And yeah, he was like showing Coral leaks with like the megas and stuff. Legendary John Howard. You make no sense. You're lying once again. Raiders themselves have said it causes problems. Talk about the 3DS. I'm not gonna listen to a pathetic fanboy defending a company that he loves. And then he says, I don't. Why would I? It's their fault. They messed up, not mine. Again, this guy is the example of the extreme people that, someone would expect us to cover on a video like this. The easiest way to make Pokemon haters look bad is guys like John Howard. I know it's Nintendo's top-selling franchise behind Mario, talking about Pokemon, but it has dropped tremendously in sales the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
If only he knew that the most hated Pokemon game in existence sold like freaking hotcakes. No, the DS is fully capable to run games the 3DS has. It has all of the specifications to run it, and Nintendo just wants more money up their pocket. No, the DS
And
is
he
fully
and he
capable
meant
of
that
running.
so hard. He
I
said it twice, bro.
I know.
He said it
The 3DS
twice.
has all the specifications to run it. 10 just wants more money out their pocket. This happened a lot. Back with the YouTube system, there were times where you type a comment and it would just go through twice. So
Yeah.
true, but not above Diamond and Pearl. They have dropped back down in terms of sales. Those are the John Howard files. But how do you feel about our friend John Howard here? Hot takes on Pokemon in the DS.
Look, because I need to see if there. I mean, there's some very basic games on the 3DS, obviously,
Right.
that the DS probably has no problem running. But like a game like Animal Crossing,
Right.
things like that. But I would love to see the DS, the original DS, try and run Kid Icarus Uprising
Oh yeah.
with all the bullet hell spam going on
No,
there.
somebody mentioned that. Kid Icarus.
Yeah, Kid Icarus is definitely one of the more intensive games on the 3DS. Mario and Luigi Dream Team would have been a hoot, considering half the Luigi area attacks have like 200 Luigis stomping on a Goomba. Would have loved to see that. But I mean, and then like there's some basic games on here. Super Mario 3D Land is probably a bit more intensive, but like Tomodachi Life, Animal Crossing. Oh, Super Smash Brothers on the DS. Oh, the 3DS version was already bad enough.
That would have been disgusting. With the internet too, it would have been unplayable.
Yeah, honest. So yeah, that comment's a bit out there.
Yeah,
if I do say so much.
They called this guy a troll and they were happy when he left. But his whole issue, so his main issues were obviously, he argued that Nintendo was just being money hungry, and that's why Game Freak had to make a new game on the 3DS. He complained that Pokemon, like economically and statistically, was a failing franchise, which, boy, was he wrong.
Look at that actually.
Yeah, look
what
at.
Did he say since Diamond and Pearl?
Yeah, so look at the just look at the Pokemon game sales, and then maybe the 3DS best sold games of all time for that. I could have done it, but I never make my arguments based on just sales, because that's not what it's really about. The sales are good for the company. Sales have nothing to do with the fans. The fans couldn't care if their favorite game was the best or worst selling thing on a platform. But he also said that it's like the Raiders for like the three, like he said, like people like IGN looked at the 3DS and basically said that it wasn't different than the DS, that the DS is still good enough. And I guess that this guy really needed that validation, or maybe he's just freaking flat broke like everybody else was as a kid, and just hated the idea that he had to buy a 3DS to play Pokemon.
Okay, so let's see. Yeah, things have died down a bit. They have progressively gotten a little bit lower, because obviously,
yeah.
And then again, I wish I could wish this site would let me go back in time to see what sales were like back then. But obviously, Red, Blue, Yellow have been sold the most, because there's a 3DS version that came out, which only sold 1.5 million copies. But let's see. 17, and for the record, even though they're better games, there's a lot of people who don't buy the trio game. Because Diamond and Pearl sold 17 million, Platinum sold 7. X and Y sold 16 million. And since that was the only game, that's all we can do. Sun and Moon sold 16.27, with Ultra Sun and Moon selling 9. And so far, 24 million people have bought Pokemon Sword and Shield. And 12 have bought Legends Arceus. That is a big jump.
A big jump. More people. Well, I mean,
first game on the Switch. A lot of people wanted it.
Yeah, more people ended up buying Sword and Shield in the long term over X and Y even. But yeah, that's this guy's comment. So now we're back to this guy. As a design-conscious fan, I am extremely upset over the Mega Pokemon. I believe that while it's helping guys like Mawile to shine, it's adding unnecessary clutter and overhype to Pokemon that are already awesome, like Blaziken and Lucario. Pokemon whose designs are complete, and yet the Pokemon Company thinks they need to be cooler. While some of you might love this idea, remember there are others who like Pokemon that don't have to change to be loved. I just don't see the reward outweighing the risk. Now, this is a highly emotional response. Yeah, there is always a place for how you feel and your opinions in media, because at the end of the day, this is you consuming something to make your life better, to enjoy your life, to forget about all the bad things going on in your life. But how can you be a design conscious fan and not be hyped to be a Mega Blaziken or Mega Charizard X?
There are some, like, I somewhat agree. I personally, even though it is way better, I don't use Mega Scizor because I just don't like the way it looks.
Right.
I think it kind of looks goofy.
Right. For me, it all comes down to the strategies I can come up with. Obviously, Gardevoir, Gallade, Sableye are my favorite Pokemon. I loved them regardless. Shiny Mega Sableye looks terrible, but I can get over that. Shiny Mega Gardevoir, oh my god, I just realized I'll never be able to actually look at that because Mega's still modern day. That's a really cool design too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, people always have had their own opinions, things. Not every opinion makes sense. Not every opinion is valid in terms of criticism. This is another one that's more subjective, and obviously this is just them putting themselves out there. So again, there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is like the John Howard guys,
Of the world.
Alright. I know for a fact that there will be a cheat code that will allow your Pokemon to stay in their Mega Evolution even outside of battle. They know that for a fact.
I wonder if that is true.
There probably is. But do you remember playing through X and Y and getting traded random megas and having your game break and all that stuff because of it?
No. Definitely don't remember that.
That's another hindsight's 2020.
I just get a lot of Hackmons and
yeah, we do get a lot of Hackmons nowadays, huh?
And it's not even like break your game Hackmons, it's just, here's a level 100 shiny legendary to Master Mole from Pokegen.net. There you go. Like, okay, thank you. Well, I have like 4 Master Balls because I just get random Pokemon. Like,
and I'm assuming this comment is talking about Mega Stones and stuff. Do these items come with a free virus?
Well, do they now?
I have no idea what this comment means.
I don't know what that
interests me.
Yeah, I definitely don't know about that.
And then this guy's mocking people saying, "Wow, I don't want change." And watch as you buy X and Y.
The amount of people, the times I've compared Pokemon fans to the Call of Duty fan base is astonishing because they're the exact same way.
Yeah,
same with Madden. And that's fine because those games have genuinely bad parts, and so does Pokemon sometimes, but Madden itself is a horrific series. I'll never spend full money on that again because they gave up, and they've given up for the past, I want to say 6 years. Because Madden 16 actually had a good game. I liked Madden 16. But everything after that has been a disaster. It's been buggy. Nothing has changed. When you relocate a football team, you've had the same stadiums since 2013. They have not changed them. The same teams as well since 2013.
I thought the whole point of making a game every year was to add all new players and update all.
Yeah, but they do that. But if you want to relocate your team, you have a select amount of cities to choose from and stadium templates. Now, granted, some of the templates look nice. There's some nice looking fields. Back in the day, you could pick exactly where you wanted to be, your exact team name, and the exact stadium you want. So they have actually kind of done a thing. But every year, what's the highest selling game? Call of Duty and Madden. And they are yearly series. Pokemon is main series. Pokemon isn't a yearly series.
Yeah,
but
it's like 2 years.
Yes, like bi-yearly. But like, yeah, that's just a thing, and it's gonna sell. And people who complain about it are gonna, but and it's also another running joke. There's like all the people who hate the game most have like 5,000 hours logged in the game. Like, this game sucks.
Yeah, like
that's literally me with probably Destiny. When I don't play Destiny now anymore.
Yeah, but that's live service specifically. So it's different than buying a single player game with added like Wi-Fi or like a because Call of Duty and Madden have to become those kinds of games, those live service kind of games. But my thing is, it's not even that they're gonna buy it. People are still gonna play the game, whether they buy it or not. That happened a lot with Sword and Shield. We had so many leaks of Sword and Shield, of BDSP. We're gonna have massive leaks for Scarlet and Violet on 4chan and other sites that aren't always in the spotlight, because people are still gonna emulate the games and play them ahead of release, even though they hate the franchise. And then there's also gonna be a lot of people that emulate it and brag about how cool the game is. You know, at the end of the day, the main argument is that people just don't want to see the games through for what they are. They want their ideal gaming experience, and that works with Call of Duty, that works with Madden, Pokemon. What else? What other games can I think of? I mean, even games that don't come out every year or every other year. Like whenever a new game comes out, there's always going to be someone who's like, "This isn't what I wanted. I wanted this." And it's okay to want things, and it's okay to have reasonable and levels of anticipation, but the world doesn't revolve around. It revolves around, the community aspect of humanity. The fact that all these other people exist, all these other ideas exist, and the people that you're buying your service from aren't going to think the way that you think. They're going to have their own ideas, and a lot of these people are creatives with lots more game experience than we have. People who've been around for a long time, and sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. But at the end of the day, we're beating a dead horse with that one. Does Mega Evolution work for the pre-evolution forms of Pokemon or the final form? To be honest, I'm afraid Pokemon may be heading down a path like Yu-Gi-Oh! Must remain faithful though. This is a good comment. Question is just the question, but Pokemon absolutely did head down the path that Yu-Gi-Oh! Did. Yu-Gi-Oh! Started off with just ritual summons and fusions, and then when the 5Ds series comes out, they had synchro summoning, and every single new Yu-Gi-Oh! Season has a new mechanic. And they stopped doing that with Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s has its own game entirely, its own different format, different game, different cards. You can't mix them like you used to. So maybe Pokemon is heading in that direction, and we're just going to keep getting these new mechanics every few years until they are like, okay, we have to absolutely now reset, try something completely new. We can't just keep trying all these new formats. The only issue, though, is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Had all of it coexisting throughout the franchise. You can still play all the same cards that you were able to play a decade ago, to varying degrees. Darian, doesn't the TCG limit what you use every year? Or every major set?
Whatever the active game is, you have to use the cards from those set. So since we're still in the Sword and Shield set, I guess anything from base set to now, what would be Astral Radiance,
right,
is usable.
Right.
I don't know if you can go back. Dude, that'd be kind of cool though. Someone just pulls out a base set, some crazy or some card or something. But it's just whatever the current cycle is. Those are the cards you have to use.
And they took that same approach with the games. You're not going to get Mega Stones on your way to fighting Nessa, for example. It's Dynamax only in the games. You're collecting Z crystals throughout all of Sun and Moon, and when you beat the game, you can transfer your Pokemon over and you can use Mega. That's how it is. But that's a good comment. Very interesting comment. How many more of these? Oh, there we go. We got it. We got there. We're at the last one. Cool. So, it's literally just a fancier way of evolving. Is it, Darian? Is it really?
If you just look at the surface, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very much different than that. It's just a fancy. No, because evolutions are permanent, and I don't really know how to dissect that. It's a very odd comment.
But yeah, that's everything for Megas. Now, I'm gonna quickly swap over to Gen 7 and people's reactions to Z moves. A lot shorter of a list. Starting with my own comment 6 years ago, where apparently I was hemorrhaging after watching the trailer.
I don't know what's going on here.
Now, I know specifically I did not like the idea of Z crystals and Z moves. But I did absolutely love the Alolan form. That was
Alolan form was fantastic.
So that's where I was. That's where a lot of us were. Next comment. I don't want to be boring, but guys, the Z moves look like summons from Golden Sun and Golden Sun Lost Age. Haha. Now they're trying to copy Gameloft after they were copying Digimon last gen.
Yeah, more copying comments.
I don't even know what the Golden Sun franchise is.
It's some kind of RPG franchise.
Oh, what a
That's all I
coincidence.
know.
What a coincidence. We're talking about another RPG. Digimon, an RPG game. Pokemon, an RPG game. It's almost as if RPG games have a lot in common.
Golden Sun is a retro series of fantasy role-playing video games developed by Camelot Software. Oh, Camelot! I love Camelot. They make the Mario sports games now.
That's what they are.
Oh, that's how I know about Golden Sun. Because everyone won't shut up about their main character wanting to be in Smash, and then they made it a Mii costume, killed everyone's dreams. Isaac. Isaac.
Next comment. I'm almost sad that all Game Freak seems to come up with now are new evolutions / forms. I guess after a couple of decades, you would have to run out of ideas. And then,
I mean, what does he want? Does he go and elaborate and say what he wants?
No.
Since all they do is come up with new evolutions and forms, which is what they've been doing since the dawn of time.
Gen 1 to Gen 2 till now. That's the only difference. New Pokemon, evolutions, abilities, new type combinations.
It's the same. New region, new characters,
new trainers,
it's the same.
New battle mechanics. You know, when you think about it, why didn't they just stop after Gen 2? Why didn't they just stop at 2? And the answer is there was always more potential, and people loved Pokemon. If Pokemon ended at Gen 2, we would have never gotten to Gen 5. We would have never gotten to Gen 6. We would have never seen any of the innovations to the game. We would always have these two buggy, dumb games that everybody forgot about because they're so old and useless. You know, imagine telling someone to play Gens 1 and 2 of Pokemon. And, you know, they sit down, they play for about 5 seconds, and they just switch back to Apex Legends or Fortnite or, you know, whatever their game of choice is for in modern time. Like, that's not happening. No one's sitting down and playing a full playthrough of Gen 1 or 2 without some kind of intrinsic, you know, concept. You know, either they were nostalgic or maybe they've never played it and they were challenged $50 to beat it, you know? And then the only response there was, there's been one new evolution in a decade. I don't know what that means. But I'm assuming he's talking about how, after,
like,
you know, a bunch of decades, they're only just now making these kinds of changes.
Okay.
The Pokemon Company are officially out of ideas.
Oh, isn't this a new idea right here?
This guy's fresh idea right there. Yeah, so Z moves, like I thought at that point, you know, why didn't they just keep Megas if they were going to make Z moves? But then, you know, I played the game, and lo and behold, Z crystals are a part of their, you know, Alola's tradition. They're very important and integral to their society. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that there was more to it than just a battle mechanic? I came here to see the comment section.
Weave them into the story, yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I do on 12. That's how it is.
I also was only there to see the comment section. I, for one, am not actually looking forward to this generation. Changing the Kanto region Pokemon, seemingly getting rid of the concepts of gyms, adding whatever totem Pokemon are, and showing no inclination of bringing back Mega Evolution, the thing that almost all Pokemon fans were in agreement that it was amazing in retrospect. So yes, at this point we can say most Pokemon fans agreed.
Yeah.
I hope that Nintendo sees the error of their ways. Nintendo doesn't make games, and goes back to the normal way. Also, Alola Executor looks ridiculous. You want to unpack that for me?
Well, I've always liked Alolan forms just because it makes real world sense that if you have the similar creature that lives in one area and compared to another, it's going to have different adaptations. And each Pokedex entry goes into that. It's a palm tree, so yeah, you're going to see palm trees on a summer island. Something about, I forgot each one, but like I know Alolan Raticate became that way because they had to start hunting at night, so that's why they got their dark type and have better like vision at night or something like that. Raichu had a little cop-out reason. It got its psychic powers through pancakes, which is kind of funny, but I mean, yeah, it just makes sense. Just like in the real world, different animals, the same animal is going to have different adaptations to whatever environment they're in.
Right.
So that's just a nice idea.
And then now that I think about it, getting rid of gyms was definitely something that I was confused about as well. But
Yeah,
Totem Pokemon ended up being one of the hardest challenges we've ever gotten. And then people after complaining about it and then playing the games, they agreed with everybody else and said, yeah, we actually really like Mega Evolution. Same thing happened here. Most people nowadays, if Gen 5 isn't the game that they're writing, it's Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon is their favorite game now. A lot of people changed to Sun and Moon after those games come out, because those games have a lot going for them, especially Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, with like no hour-long tutorial session that you have to play on replay. And those games are a lot harder. Jose told me they actually just stacked normal trainers with IVs and stuff. It's great. Now we have another one. I actually played the demo recently, and I'm pretty much indifferent to it. There were things that I liked and things that I disliked. My biggest complaint is the rival. I preferred it when your rival was a huge jerk, and you could enjoy mercilessly killing his pets. Or when they were like the 3rd gen rival, or they were your friend, but weren't constantly around talking the importance of friendship. My other complaint is the evil team. From what I saw of them, they only wanted to steal your Pokemon team. Well, it's just Team Rocket with a bone theme. Boy, were they wrong.
Team Skull is actually one of the best evil teams. They're really fleshed out. They're not just thieves. They're that way because they're failed trial people, and they have like and that's why I saw a video on it, like an unpacking, like a review. It's like that's why they use such weak Pokemon all the time. They always use like Fomantis and just these random riffraff Pokemon because that's all they have. They're basically they're just like the bottom of the barrel people who. And then what's his name? Oh God, what's the dude's name? Guzma, he kind of like takes care of him. He's another trial guy, so they are a lot more fleshed out. Team Rocket was literally just steal Pokemon and take over the world, and that's another argument that happens a lot with the rival being a jerk. We've only had one jerky rival, and that was Silver. Blue was just really cocky. I don't know if he was a straight up jerk. He was just pretty confident and cocky. Silver was a dickhead, and then everyone else, May, she's really nice. Gen 4, you had Barry. Barry's a big goof. I like Barry. In Gen 5, we had
Aaron and Bianca.
Lord. And then in the second game, we had Hugh. And he wasn't. None of these rivals were jerks. So I guess he just liked Silver.
Had a very legitimate goal that he working towards. He had something that was very serious that he took seriously. Like, imagine if you had Hal and he's like, "Oh, my sister's Purloin got stuff. I'm gonna get it back." That wouldn't work.
It's crazy because Hal actually turned into kind of a monster. He was a very good trainer.
He became a great trainer. And then obviously the response here is, Hal's not your rival, Jesus Christ, and Team Skull is not the evil team. Don't judge by its cover. These were both 5 years ago, so these were both before the games came out. But yeah. Team Skull really wasn't an evil team in the way that we would expect it. Same way that Team Yell isn't an evil team in the way that we would expect.
I hate Team Yell. They're literally the most useful.
Team Yell is cool because when you realize that, like, what their goal was and how minute it was, and they wanted to help put Spikemuth on the map because Spikemuth was a forgotten part of Galar.
Yeah.
It was basically dead, and their gym leader was basically useless because he didn't battle the same way that everybody else was battling.
I don't want to use Dynamax.
Still made Piers one of the coolest characters in all of Pokemon.
Yeah, Piers is cool. The way they go about it is just they were just in the games they're just extremely annoying.
Yeah, they're literally there to annoy you.
But their reason
Team Skull though is iconic because they were very obviously they had a culture. They were fleshed out to a way where like they had a camaraderie, they had a culture about them. Yeah,
everyone had each other's back. They had the Icky Town or whatever.
Yeah, you knew what they were about when you saw them. Team Yell is just one of the things about Gen 8 that makes Gen 8 so cool. Conceptually, that wasn't really that fleshed.
Yeah.
Alright, we got a few more of these. This guy said that they really want the old Executor back, and then our friend here says, reminder that it was always implied that Executor lived and flourished in tropical regions, which makes sense. We already explained. You don't have to keep that. By no means do I dislike Alola forms, but I do feel there is a missing opportunity. Instead of making new alternative forms, why not incorporate things from the anime, such as the Crystal Onyx, or the berries that make Pokemon turn pink? Now, isn't that a gem of a... unintended. Because now Crystal Onyx is the quote unquote hint for the new thing. And somebody made a post, a meme where it's like, just look at weird stuff that happened in the anime to figure out what cool battle mechanics are coming in the future. It's all coincidence. Just like Gen 1 Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Nothing made sense. They were just trying stuff out. They even had episodes with people with like guns in it, you know, in Gen 1 Pokemon anime. But you know, this guy thinks that going for a realistic Darwinian take on Pokemon is a missed opportunity. Obviously, it's now one of the coolest parts about the franchise. Zeno-sama here says trash. Okay, nice troll. That's the Pokemon community nowadays, you know.
Yeah,
they don't want to contribute anything, but they
elaborate. No, it's bad.
They have feelings.
Why is it bad?
It's not a JRPG without ultimate moves. They finally did it. That's a good comment.
It's a nice comment. Yeah,
good comment.
Good
the
job.
Moves are stupid. Nice comment. Now, here's an interesting one. Pokemon is making huge steps forward with these two generations. Remember when people actually considered progress as a thing in Pokemon?
Oh, yeah.
Now everything's just ruining Pokemon.
You can definitely tell the jump from Gen 6 to 7 is massive.
Yeah.
Huge.
If they would keep the 3D world and cut out the ridiculous new Pokemon and go back to the old style of Pokemon, this would be a great game. Too much mega and dancing crap. Keep it true to the Pokemon concept and quit with the weird stuff. Now that comment speaks like a modern conservative take on Twitter. Without trying to understand anything, they just look at it, don't like it, bash it, move on with their day.
So he likes the 3D, but not the Pokemon?
But then other people don't like the 3D.
3D world and cut out the new Pokemon and go back to the old style Pokemon. Does he want sprites in a 3D world?
No, Darian. This guy bought Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Obviously. You know? Surely they didn't hate Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, where they had too much mega and dancing crap.
They did have mega.
They had dancing crap in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. with all the weird D-move-esque moves that Pikachu and Eevee could learn.
Oh yeah, like what was it? Baddie Bad. Yeah, Baddie Bad. And Splishy Splash.
Yeah. Go back to playing Red and Blue. The developers of the game are trying something different, and people like you still complain. And then we have E.
Yeah, just go back to Gen 1 where you're saying, what's the team? You're going to use, what? Venusaur, Persian, Snorlax, Starmie, Rhyhorn, and Rhydon and Tauros. That's it.
Why that game? Why that team specifically? No reason.
Because those are the best Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, with Persian Speed and Slash, you had a crit rate of like 40%.
Oh yeah, and Alakazam, right? Or Mr. Mime.
Yeah, because crits were based on speed and psychic types were psychic types.
Alright, here's another one. Some styles were okay, but you guys are just running out of ideas. And then our boy here says Muck, Grimer, Gloom, Magnemite, and more. They keep going. Now,
what?
Nobody's ever gonna agree on this. But Gen 1 designs were basic. They were intentionally basic.
You get a bird, a lizard, a turtle.
We can't hate on new ideas because they had them and then say that they ran out of ideas. Yeah, like Fido, Lechonk, and Palmy are some of the cutest Pokemon we've ever seen. Right?
And the names are just perfect.
Now imagine this person saying that about everyone's favorite Pokemon, Lechonk. Unheard of.
You'll be right.
Nobody says anything bad about Lechonk. But they ran out of ideas a long time ago, you know? Here's another cute one. I'm 14 and I still love Pokemon. Wait till that person becomes 18. They're gonna hate it. I'm using my mouse here. The graphic got worse. Great bait, mate.
Great bait, mate.
Like, again, from X and Y to Sun and Moon The graphics got worse. Nobody would rationally agree with you on that. You know? That's just not possible, man. Not possible.
It's like that one comment I showed you yesterday, talking about how Scarlet and Violet didn't look as good as Pokepark. Like,
Yes.
what are you on?
Ridiculous. I really feel like the graphism are horrible. I played all Pokemons, but stopped at Platinum version. Are the others worth the try? I really don't know, and I feel like they are out of ideas. Homie stopped playing in 2008, 2007, no, 2008, around there, right? And then says they ran out of ideas, by the way.
They ran out of ideas.
And the same guy from earlier is like, sure. And then we got
Yeah, sure
Pokemon
did.
is better than ever, which was true. Gen 7 was amazing. Well, I hate this Alolan thing for Pokemon. They made the Pokemon from cool to ugly smash a noob.
Yeah, no one looked at Ninetales, or no one saw what you call there. Bro.
Same guy.
Friggin'
I'm just
Marowak?
not realizing. Same guy. Ninetales
Good
is
job.
he was fighting the good fight, man. He was on the front lines 5 years ago.
Have you seen Alolan Marowak? Sick as hell.
And again,
Best
like
thing ever.
the Alolan forms more so than Megas, more so than Z-moves or Dynamax or any of these other things, right? That concept opened the door for Pokemon to not only reinvent what old unused Pokemon can do, but also expanded on the world of Pokemon in a way that nothing else has.
Indeed.
All right, wow, Game Freak, not Nintendo. You did a terrible job on the Executor Alolan form, and then a whole conversation broke off from this. I don't know. I keep laughing every time I see it. They tried. It's so absurd that it's awesome. Exactly. See what I did there? How dare they make a palm tree in a region based on Hawaii? Are they not allowed to joke around for once? Varying degrees of agreeing and disagreeing with this guy. But I think that's the point, right? You know, why hone in on the one goofy form of a Pokemon that was already goofy? Oh, sorry. Already goofy. Executor never looked cool. Execute never looked cool. Those Pokemon are goofy.
It's literally just sentient eggs. One of them is
It makes
smashed.
no.
And you
And they
evolve when you see their faces, and they're even goofier.
And then when you think about how these eggs became a coconut tree, it confuses you every time.
Have mercy. Oh, what's going on here?
All right, so this one's gonna be a bit hard to explain, but this was just a popular theory, and I'm gonna go into why I include this in a second.
Okay.
This is what Lockston Noggin did in his video, Sun and Moon are Climax to Pokemon Part 1. That 4 islands will be concerned with the first 4 games. Grass, Pokemon Green, Water, Pokemon Blue, Electric, Pokemon Yellow, and Fire, Pokemon Red. He has some facts. And then told him Mimikyu, he was wrong.
Great
Now-
name, by the way. I like it.
Here's the thing that I think is the true issue with content creation, right? You don't get to control how the people that watch your videos react to them and what they believe and not believe, right? It's completely innocent having theories, right? Game Theory is a massive channel. Matt Pat has way more responsibility than he'll ever be able to live up to with that channel. But then sometimes the fans will do something like harass a business because it might lead to a weird FNAF theory that he uploaded.
Yeah.
Same thing here. There's gonna be some people that go out of their way to say, I trust this person 100%. I think that they're way too smart for Game Freak to ever outsmart them. Their theory is 100% right. It's gonna be this way. And at the end of the day, right? That guy was wrong. That theory never panned
And
out.
it's just a very vague generalization.
It is. You know, it's wish fulfillment. And I feel like that's a problem with a lot of fans. It doesn't come in this form, but it often comes in, you know, getting in their own heads, getting their own ideas, and then saying, it's fact now. This objectively, this is what's gonna happen. They won't let us use children's mental ward for our art department anymore, so we just took some existing derps and made them even stupid. This is a troll comment. A hate comment. Person had nothing to contribute to the discussion. They're obviously a furry. Sorry to be a bit offensive on that one. But, you know, it sucks to see that. They could have elaborated on any idea. They could have just said it in a way that didn't sound absolutely rude and absolutely subjective. But that's what they wanted to put out into the world, so that's what they put out into the world. Pokemon, what are you doing? Stop. They, in fact, did not stop. They made another Sun and Moon.
That was better and worse at the same time than the last game.
Yeah, it was its own thing, you know? Pokemon Uranium is so much better. Thanks, Nintendo, for handling your fans like trash. Now, you've played Uranium, haven't you?
I have not, actually.
Which one did you play?
I've played a couple ROM hacks, but not a whole ton. I have one now. It's actually newer called Xenoverse that I played.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I didn't play Uranium. I was really high on Pokemon Sage, even though I found no way to play it. It's just because all those Pokemon had sick design. But I had I'm faster. So low.
I've said it in other videos that we've uploaded. I don't think that Pokemon fans can make a Pokemon game that feels like what the audience deserves while also showing off what Game Freak hasn't been doing. Most of the time, they've made the game either way harder than it needs to be, or the things that they implement into the games that they think is going to change the game only makes it feel uncanny and off-putting for me. That's how I feel about it, but that's another popular thing that now that we have a lot more people making Pokemon games, a lot of people have been developing over the past few years. I'm burnt out, honestly, on ROMs and fan-made stuff. It just doesn't do it for me. It's not good enough. What I'm going to say.
And a lot of the times, there's not much uniqueness to most fan games because they don't have the staff that Game Freak has, so they just use their assets anyway. Like, oh, here's and I understand, but like some of the games, but yeah, I feel you. A lot of burnout. Like I said, especially like Snakewood. That's video I watched on Snakewood. Like here's a level 80 Pokemon you can't beat for story reasons. Like okay.
Yeah, Pokemon is created the way that it is for a reason. We might not always appreciate it, but at the very least, Pokemon Sword and Shield, for example, will feel more like Pokemon than Pokemon Uranium. Even though it might objectively be a worse game. Because nobody's going to be able to create the ideas that Game Freak has, and they're not going to be able to put that together in the same way that Game Freak can. With their limited staff, with the people that people don't like there, etc., etc. Executor Alola is horrible.
Did it twice as well.
Imagine when Z moves come to the series. Ash will have to do a pose for Pikachu to do its ultimate Kamehameha. That came true. That was a real thing that happened.
That's a thing, I'll give you that, but...
Yeah. Personally, I think Alola forms are kind of dumb. I mean, Sandslash and Ninetales were changed so much they might as well be new Pokemon. It is what it is. I'm not gonna worry too much about that. Because there was another discussion talking about how Sandshrew no longer being around sand should be called Ice Shrew. But the main thing is Sandshrew was the native version of the Pokemon. The Pokemon ended up in a different region, and this is how that Pokemon acclimated. That's why the term Alolan is there.
Just a region. It's the same Pokemon. It's just adapted differently.
Pass. I like Fire Ninetales better. Crazy. Unheard of. Bonkers.
That's wild, actually. That is wild.
Kind of disappointed with this game, just thinking that a little Fire-type Pokemon could unleash Inferno Overdrive. And then our boy Supreme Garchomp saying LOL, and then they clarify with any Fire-type can do that, not just the little one.
As long as you have the crystal.
And you don't get...
It's also ridiculous that Pidgey can learn fly, and you can fly on a Pidgey, but
that's a good point. You could surf on a Corphish.
Ew. Tutor said look kind of mid, no drip. Carry on.
So yeah, I mean, it's suspension of disbelief. It varies to different degrees for different people. We're gonna get this right going so that we can send you guys off. If you've made it this far in the video, you are obviously interested in what we're doing, and I'd like to thank you now before we get through to the end of the video. Just like X and Y and Auras, we have no surprises. We get the whole game in trailers. Then don't watch. I like how this guy is saying how this trailer is spoiling the game, but he is actually seeing it. I just think that they should tell the release date. That's all. They tell too much. Them showing Pokemon in the trailers is okay, but they are even putting some of the story in the trailer. That's what I mean. Thanks for clearing that up. I kind of agree with them for the X, Y trailers. They honestly didn't add much of anything to the final games. It was all about the metagame, get the story done, and be finished with it. Now, we already talked about that. We agree and disagree with that in different ways. It's just a different approach. This is a completely fine take to have. There's nothing wrong with it. But the thing that is wrong to say is don't watch it. But how are you gonna know what's in it if you don't watch it? You can't just... I mean, sure, it's one thing to want to know things about the game. Like, I know you, for one, would never be able to avoid a spoiler in your life.
I'm cursed, bro. Like I said, the night I was going to go see Star Wars the day before it came out because of special screening, I got the ending. I got one of the... I was like, I'm watching a Need for Speed video. First comment, Han Solo dies in a new Star Wars movie. Like, what the Need for Speed? Nothing to do with the video. It's top comment. But yeah, I tried to. I'm like, I'm not gonna look at it. For Legends, I didn't look at. I watched the trailers out there. I didn't look at anything else. But I've delved into some Centro stuff, looking at whatnot. It's been interesting. What's this replying to?
Sadly, it won't be. In the Ultra Beast Japan's trailer, you see the Team Skull admin has level 38 with 2 Pokemon and only Gen 1 Alolan forms. This game will be crap. Just Gen 1 fan service and way too easy. X and Y sucked, and now Sun and Moon sucked too. Boy, was he wrong. Boy, were they wrong. X and Y and Sun and Moon, completely different kinds of difficulties, completely different kinds of issues you have to deal with. And then there's the fact that, like, different bosses might have Z moves. This is not longer Pokemon, and our boy Supreme Card Shop for the 90th time. Yes, it is. It's right there in the title, dude. Pokemon. Not that hard to read. Well, you see, this is made by the Pokemon Company. You see it yet? Pokemon Company. Pokemon Company.
Just another person who's like, this is Pokemon. This is not Pokemon. This is what Pokemon is to me, so therefore this is nothing. Sorry, but like, that's no.
Unless there are gyms or there was an exciting storyline, nothing can make up for there being no gyms. And a lot of people have that opinion.
Yeah.
And that's completely fine opinion to have. But the thing that none of us expected was that totems would be one of the most interesting things to ever come into the game.
Yeah, I did like totem mons. Especially some of the later game ones. Like
yeah, there were other people saying I want totem mons back. I know they exist. Because every kind of person exists. I think the Alolan forms for some of the Pokemon look pretty cool. Still a bit iffy on Executor, but could you guys just make remakes of the old games? Because they were actually a lot better than the new ones.
Oh, really?
I'm going to stop you right there, my friend. We've said it once. We've said it twice. We've said it thrice. We've said it so many times. Pokemon games only got better leading from Gens 1 to Gens 5. Objectively, they added and refined the system all the way up to Gen 5. There is no way you can objectively say that the old games are better than the new ones. Going all the way up to Gen 5, that's where I'll draw the line. Because after Gen 5, the games have hit a peak in what it is that the base Pokemon experience can be. Hence why they added Mega Evolution. Hence why they added Z. Hence why they added Alolan forms. Hence why they're changing Pokemon stats every generation now. Hence why Pokemon are getting new moves every generation now. Because they completed the base game experience. Whether or not you like Gen 6 onwards, you cannot objectively say that red, blue, yellow, crystal, silver, and gold were the prime times of Pokemon. That is a false statement. Say that to everybody's favorite game, Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Like, I'm sure a lot of people would agree with me, yes, because I feel like the new story where you go off and try to become the very best while the evil group whom are obsessed over the legendary Pokemon of the region is getting a bit repetitive. And guess what? All these years later, we finally get Pokemon games where obtaining the legendary Pokemon is not the main idea. Sword and Shield, the main goal of Sword and Shield is not to capture Zacian and Zamazenta. Right? Eternatus, sure.
Yeah.
Sun and Moon. Solgaleo and Lunala are not the main goal of the villains in Sun and Moon. It's the Ultra Beast.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy obviously didn't know because he wants to complain about the good old days. And his knee-jerk reaction, I don't care what the games are, they're not the old games. Right? It's like, then they say, at least add some twist to the story. I'm dead.
Do you think, honestly, I know this applies for Ultra Sun and Moon more than regular Sun and Moon, but in this mind, talking about twist for the story, did he think that the evil team would not be the main antagonist? The main antagonist would be a Pokemon? Did he honestly think that the next game would have the villain being an actual Pokemon for the first time in the whole series? Other than like the Mewtwo movie?
Oh my. And this is the problem. Why have all of these opinions before the game even comes out?
And this is the Alolan Form trailer. How many trailers have we had other than like the usual one? Like,
so the Alolan Form trailer and the Z-Move trailer are the same trailer, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So we get a little bit of both. But this guy sets with their chest red, blue, yellow, crystal, silver, and gold with a prime time. Most people's favorite gens are between 3 and 5. What are you talking about? The prime times of Pokemon were gens 3 through 5. Period.
Yes.
Anyone who says gens 1 and 2 are their favorite, that they don't mean that. They don't actually mean that. Maybe their favorite Pokemon is a Gen 2 Pokemon. Maybe their first playthrough was that nostalgic for those games. But my first game was Fire Red and Leaf Green, which will always be better than Red and Blue, and is also featured in Gen 3. Damon says his favorite is Gen 2, which was remade in Gen 4, and so on and so forth. Gens 3 through 5 were the best times to be a Pokemon fan, objectively. Because that's when you were young enough to get into it. That's when the first 2 games got remade. That's when we basically had 4 generations of Pokemon stuffed into 2 gens. That was the best time. Objectively, to be a new Pokemon fan to get into the franchise, that was the best time. With all these new Pokemon, they're kind of starting to look like recycled versions of Pokemon before, but let's be honest, Sun's Legend looks like a reskinned Arcanine. This dude is dirty.
Completely different animal.
They're completely different animals.
It went from a dog to a what?
Lion.
The only reason I can say that is some of the theories of like how Genesect is actually a modified Kabuto. Like that one I can buy that.
They're both bugs.
But a dog turning into a metal lion is crazy.
No hate for these new games again, by the way. I'm not hating on it, even though I'm completely being disgusting. It's just starting to get out of hand personally to me. I'd rather play a Pokemon ROM hack with Fakemon than YX Sun or Moon. This person's opinion is invalidated by their take. Just permanently by their take. You cannot, like, again, because I've written a Pokemon story. I have concepts laid out for a Pokemon story. If my character had to be from anywhere in the world of Pokemon, it would by default be Kalos. Because my favorite type is Fairy type. And Gardevoir, my favorite Pokemon from my favorite generation, becomes a Fairy type in that generation. I love both Gen 3 and Gen 6 equally. Equally at this point. Gen 3 has a lot more that I love to rediscover. But Gen 6 just has everything that made the franchise for me. Mega Evolutions were amazing. The Fairy type was amazing. Ramos is one of my favorite gym leaders, even though he doesn't do anything in the story. There were a lot of things that I loved about both games. And I'm sure the same for Darian. I'm not gonna have him rant the same level that I am.
Yeah.
But dear God, man, what are their opinion 5 years later? If you are seeing this video, you specifically, I'm calling out, comment in this video if you somehow see this, because dear Lord, this is the reason why we hate the Pokemon community in the way that it currently exists. Because it just doesn't make sense to have these opinions, right? It's completely fine if for you the peak of Pokemon was at its worst point when Feraligatr had to learn TMs, and Feraligatr was the only good starter because the other two starters didn't learn anything good, right? It's okay if all the cool new Pokemon are gated to Kanto postgame, and Kanto postgame is just visiting gyms. It's okay for you, the best of Pokemon was when it was its most buggy, and 90% of the shit didn't work the way it was intended. That's fine for you. But nobody's gonna agree with you.
No one.
Nobody's gonna agree with that.
Unless that's the only game they played. There's no shot. I refuse.
Even
Gen 1 is a disgusting mouth.
Even Gen 3 has the biggest flaw of being the generation before physical special split. It looks way better than the other games because it's on the Game Boy Advance, but it still plays like those other games, which makes it bad. And even then, that was the beginning of the peak. Game Boy Advance, DS, end of the DS era, that was the best time for Pokemon. Most people are nostalgic for those times. A lot of people are still nostalgic for Red and Blue, but I would say that Fire Red, Leaf Green even more so. Nobody talks about the original Gen 2 games. They always talk about the remakes. I made a whole video about the remake because Gen 2 on its own is not worth my time. There's plenty of videos that you can see on YouTube about all the little bugs and intricacies and all the little things that happen in Gen 1 and 2 that makes it so buggy and makes it such an unpolished game. Yet here we are, 20 years later, expecting them to make something better than that, you know? Let's move on. I've been a Pokemon fan since I was 6 and I just recently stopped playing it, and if I play, it's for nostalgia purposes. This is the average Pokemon fan, in my opinion. People who only play now for nostalgic purposes, keep up with the series, trying to find what they've lost, and it's just not there for them. That's fair.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll let it slide.
Is there still Mega Evolution in Gen 7? No new Mega Evolution. It's all post game. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It basically
Megas,
doesn't
but
exist.
there's no new ones.
You know, at the end of Gen 6, people loved Megas. Megas were the shit. I'm not against all this Alola form stuff, but let's be real, they're running out of ideas. Again, this weird concept of like, you know, they just gave us something new, therefore they've run out of ideas. Now, this is the comment that I want to actually freak out over. That's something normal though. No one is expecting them to always have new and fresh ideas. That's almost impossible. True. It takes a lot of time for them to develop a core mechanic to add to a game. Still, the Alola form concept and logic is pretty much the same as the Mega Evolutions.
That's just objectively
They're
incorrect.
just modifying old Pokemon so they don't have to bother creating new ones. But they
created
still
new ones.
made new
Some of
ones.
the better new ones.
A lot of new ones. A lot of new Pokemon. They even took a whole new approach with Gen 7 Pokemon and gave them different stat distributions than you'd be usually accustomed to, which this guy probably didn't know.
It's a slow generation. It's a slow generation, Gen 7.
And the new Pokemon are pretty bad comparatively when it comes to like stats. But a lot of them have new gimmicks. A lot of their stat lines end up being really cool when used properly. Where are we with this post? They're just modifying old Pokemon so they don't have to bother creating new ones, which requires creativity, and the options for that keep decreasing with each new generation. Now, there's a bit of truth to that, right? If they made Pikachu 8 different ways, it's going to be hard for them, but not that hard, to find another rodent Pokemon to make a new Pokemon on. You know, that's just reality. As long as Pokemon keeps going on, it's going to keep on having to innovate and come up with new ideas. But the thing that people keep ignoring is that most creatures and concepts in Pokemon are based on real world concepts, which there are so many that they still haven't done. We still don't have a dolphin Pokemon.
Yeah.
right?
There's still no dolphin. There's no flamingos.
Flamingo.
People watch.
Right? Do you have a peacock? Do we have a generic peacock? I can't think.
No, we don't. I don't think so.
We only have 2 owls.
Yeah, we have an owl.
There's so
we
many
have a
different kinds of
toucan.
owls, bats, birds, dogs that still have not been done. Because every new generation, they pick 1 or 2 of those different kinds of creatures and they add them into the game. We even got outlandish concepts like ice cream and trash. How is that running out of creativity when you can make trash into a Pokemon and then align it with muck? Now, that's important for what's going to come up next. I personally feel that the 5th generation, which introduced a plethora of new creative Pokemon, depleted Game Freak's ideas for creating new Pokemon. The fact that Mega Evolutions were introduced right after just proves this theory even further. Now, this is the dumbest part of the comment, because everyone, their freaking mom knows that all they did with Gen 5 is take the original 150 and make a new version of it. We have Suck and Throw, which are just Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. There's 2 different kinds of martial art Pokemon. Lilligant, which is basically make your choice. It's either Blossom or it's Victory Bell, right? And then they have Cottony, which wasn't a Whimsicott. Pick which of the 2 grass Pokemon that replaces, right? You have Maractus, which is just a cactus, right? You have your generic Route 1 bird. You have Braviary, and you have what's the other one? Mandibuzz.
Yeah,
right?
And a Swan.
Right? Pick which Gen 1 bird that replaces. That's how the entire Pokedex is. Garbodor just replaces Muck. Audino just replaces Chansey. What in God's name do you think happened with Gen 5? Do you really think that Gen 5 was this whole new creative batch of 100? No, they copy pasted.
You can even say it with like
Gen 1
Cost and Blackwood.
Pokemon Black and White are soft reboots of the series. Gen 5, one of its biggest problems is that it has so many new Pokemon, but none of them feel right. A lot of those Pokemon just don't feel right. If you asked me if I wanted to grab Pokemon from Gens 3 to 4, 5, and 6, 5 would be the last gen that I'd choose. I don't think I even have a favorite Gen 5 Pokemon. They're all just rehashes, for the most part, of Gen 1. Right? You have Hydreigon, which just replaces the Pseudo. It's just a new Pseudo. Right? Hydreigon's the Gen 5
For me, it's
Pseudo,
probably,
right?
yeah. For me, it's probably, yeah, Gen 5. Yeah, for me, in terms of favorites, in terms of, like, not replacing something, it's probably Chandelure. I can't really think of, I mean, you can't really compare to, like, Gengar or something like that, being a ghost type. That or, like, Crocodile.
Yes, you
maybe.
can. You absolutely
I know, but there's other ghost types you can probably compare to Gengar.
What other ghost types do they have in Gen 5? Let's look at Gen 5 Pokédex.
Good check. Let me think. Off the top of my head. There's Coffagrigus. I know there's, let's see, Coffagrigus. I'm definitely missing some.
Black and White. Pokédex. You know what? We're going to go through the whole Pokédex. I'm going to... Hold on. I'm going to pause here. Alright, so we just did a tangent on Gen 5 Pokemon that goes along with this comment that we just read. But we still have, I think, one more for the video. It seems gimmicky. But the best for last, I guess, right? Now, I know that right away, Darian, you know where I'm gonna go with this. Gen 3 had this little known move called Secret Power. And what Secret Power did was allow you to go to trees and caves and carve out a little area for you to make a secret base. What could you do in your secret base? Not much. You can decorate it. That's about it. If you had link cable, maybe a little bit more back then. But that was a gimmick. That was something put in the game that doesn't necessarily change the battle-to-battle experience, but it was something that they pushed as one of the big things that they did. In Gen 4, they had the Grand Underground, or the Sinnoh Underground back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was this place where you could go underground, make secret bases, and
Do some
play a little bit of co-op with your friend. You can play Capture the Flag. That is a gimmick. In Gen 5, they had the Hidden Grotto. And what the Hidden Grotto was a place where every now and then a special Pokemon with its hidden ability would spawn. That is a gimmick. Gen 6 was not the first generation to introduce a gimmick. What Gen 6 was the first generation to add an important change to battles. And they're all the same. It's just that all the little things like contests and secret bases and the underground and hidden grottos, that stuff was in the background. You didn't need it to have the Pokemon. But they stopped doing that, and instead they added to the Pokemon experience, the core gameplay. And something that I know most fans don't do is think and see what the franchise actually looks like. They only remember how it felt, not what it actually is. So to sum up this video, very long video, I'm going to cut it at some points, but not all. The Pokemon community has to stop having such radical, useless opinions about every new thing in Pokemon. Because whether you like it or not, we all know that the games can be better. It doesn't mean that they will be everything that you want them to be. We know that as the generations continued, Pokemon only evolved. And it is still changing in ways that matter to this day. As a little anecdote, as Jose was playing Gen 7, he complained in a rightful way, as in like, wow, this is really challenging, that the move tutor was very late in the game. In Generation 8, the move tutor was added to the Pokemon Center. And throughout your playthrough, you could change up your Pokemon's moves however you wanted, no cost.
Yeah, no heart scales, no shards. Just go talk to the man.
And what that let you do is give your Pokemon niche moves for niche battles, without having to commit to them. I used that myself in a battle where I was using a pure dark type team, and I taught my Stuntank Memento, which helped me beat that battle against Bay, who has fighting type Pokemon. That's an experience that none of the other Pokemon games could have given me without me having a TM or a level up move to rely on to fix what I just did. Not everyone can agree on what makes Pokemon good, and not everyone can agree on what makes Pokemon bad. And what most people say about Pokemon contradicts what other people say about Pokemon. So for the love of God, just find out what your genuine opinions are, why you like or why you hate it, and leave it at that. You don't have to repeat it every year. You don't have to repeat it every 2 years. You don't have to repeat it every trailer. Pokemon is still an amazing franchise that has a lot of potential. We can agree that there is something we are waiting for in Pokemon. And when Game Freak does it, we're still gonna have people who hate the franchise. We're never gonna get to a point again where everyone objectively likes Pokemon. Because even though most people like Legends Arceus, there's still people that hate it because of art, or because of direction, or some arbitrary factor. But the community has to stop thinking that Pokemon's just on this weird trajectory that nobody likes. That's not true. People haven't liked Pokemon at every step of the way. And these comments that I've shown today and that Derry and I discussed show that side of Pokemon. Everybody has a take. Not all takes are accepted. Not all takes are good. Not all takes are not progressive, but not all takes help the community.
Not constructive.
They're not constructive. Anyway. So if you're one of the people that had resonations with that a resonance with some of these harder comments, some of these harsher comments, think about why you believe in what you believe and elaborate it in the comments. And then we can discuss it. And it's completely fine if the takeaway is that you don't like Pokemon. Because you don't have to like anything that you don't genuinely have emotions for. But the Pokemon community is never going to get to a point where Game Freak can actually address our issues if we go past those first 3 bullets. Harder difficulty, better graphics, better story. Because people want to complain about every little thing in the games, and it's not going to help. When Game Freak actually stops and says, we want Gen 10 to be about the fans. What do you guys want to see? They don't need to hear like 50 to 60% of the stuff that we say. And that's just the way it is. So if you made it this far, I hope you had a great time. Because I know I had a great time. You have a great time, Darian?
On time indeed.
Great time indeed. Hopefully we'll see you again next time. And hopefully I'll catch you on these streams that I've started doing.